Hello, everybody. You're very welcome today. I'm introducing Mark Gottlieb. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I met Mark. Mark is a prominent literary agent from the United States, based in Manhattan. I met Mark at a literary festival, 5 or 6 years ago. And Mark is a wonderful support for authors and has a huge list of authors who he supports and gets literary contracts for with big publishers. This is the holy grail, isn't it, for many authors to get that big contract. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much for having me and for this kind introduction. That's right. My name is Mark Gottlieb. I'm a literary agent and executive vice president at Trident Media Group in New York City. I shared a link to our website in the chat there. The agency where I work, as you mentioned, we represent many authors, a lot of them number one New York Times bestselling authors, major award-winning authors. Um, the agency, we've actually led the publishing industry historically, both in terms of number of book deals and amount of money for book deals every year consecutively for decades. That's according to Publishers Marketplace. So as you can imagine, we're usually the first stop for most authors, and publishers certainly know our work as a result. Um, I could share my page on the Trident Media Group website, but I work with a range of authors in the space of fiction, nonfiction, even children's books and graphic novels. I've done quite a bit of work in the area of audiobooks and international rights because I ran the audiobook department at Trident, and I did a stint at Penguin Books before coming over to Trident, and then studied publishing, started a small press at my university, which is still operational, and I've lectured on publishing pretty widely at Yale, Cambridge, Columbia, elsewhere. Um, and the other thing I think that makes probably me unique is I happen to lead the agency where I work in lifetime number of book deals. I might look like a young guy, but I'm coming up on about 360 book deals to date. Um, so I'm very happy about that. And the latest bit of news, and then I'll stop talking, is um, I had a client hit the New York Times bestsellers list at number 5 on the hardcover fiction list. Clay Kane with his book Burn Down Master's House. It's his debut novel, so that's very exciting.
It is exciting. That's a wonderful achievement. And all of the books you found publishers for, that's a tremendous, really tremendous and exciting achievement. And we are really excited to have you coming to Dublin for our International Dublin Writers Festival, which is on mid-August in Trinity College in Dublin. So I want to move on briefly just to give people a snippet of some sense of what we're going to be covering. So the theme of the festival is the future of story. So the future of story, as you know, it's really changing rapidly around us. Almost every day we're finding new things. So part of that will be the future of literary agencies. Have you any thoughts about that you'd like to give us a taste of?
You know, the technology has basically created a lot of both possibilities and challenges in the industry. There are now many manifestations a book can take. I mean, obviously, we've always known, a book to be a printed book, but now ebooks, audiobooks, movies, TV shows, games, video games, podcasts, and things like that. So books are sort of spinning out into other areas, which is interesting in one sense because you can sort of monetize a book in more ways. And then there are challenges in the industry. I mean, you and I were talking about earlier, AI is definitely something that's ever more present in publishing. Publishers are, on the one hand, using it in their own processes, admittedly, openly, publicly, for their own publishing processes, and yet saying to writers that they cannot and should not use it in their own writing. Um, People have a lot of questions swirling around it, and the future seems kind of tenuous around it. We'll have to see where that all ends up. So it's a very exciting time, but it's also there are a lot of challenges ahead too, I think, for writing and publishing.
Yes, absolutely right. And we'll be going into and have a variety of speakers, and hopefully you can give us some more for people who make it here to Dublin in August 14th to the 16th. So one question, there will be a lot of writers who don't make it here, and we try to put some video sessions up for them, and this will be one of those. So people will know about you, the speakers who are coming, but they won't be able to make it to Dublin. So there's one question, I think a burning question people ask, and I'll just keep it to this one question. There's a lot of independent authors out there now, as you well know. And one of the questions I get is, okay, when will a publisher consider me? At what level of sales? And we've heard, industry rumor that you have to get, if you get to 50,000 books sold, ebooks or whatever, or 100,000 ebooks sold, that a publisher might consider you, and that even some agents look for those people who are doing well. Is there a level which we could say to people, yes, this is likely a publisher will come and they could take your rights and put you in bookstores?
It's a interesting thing, the ebook space. Early on, it was as though you could simply write an ebook, upload it to a server, and it would become a bestseller overnight. But now there's such a glut of material, and it's sort of a race to the bottom in terms of how those ebooks are priced, that you really do have to sell a lot of them for the numbers to make sense, because the publishers are thinking to themselves, will the same audience who were willing to pay whatever it is, 99 cents or 2.99, whatever it was for an ebook, are they going to be willing to pay the same price for a $30 hardcover? Um, so it's sort of different in that way. In publishing, you can sell fewer books at a higher price and have a very good margin. It's as though we're selling the Kobe beef burgers.
Mm.
And then in ebooks, it's almost, I call it the McDonald's effect. You need to sell many, many hamburgers, at a low price in order for it to make sense because the margins are so small. So it's sort of how do you close that gap? Um, I have heard figures like, yes, you need to be selling in the tens of thousands to begin to really interest publishers. Although I've also seen authors who had self-published and then they won major awards and it grabbed the attention of agencies and publishers. And then, in one rare instance, an author approached me. He had a fantastic idea for a book. He had self-published it. He said, why did you take me on as a client? I experienced so much rejection from agents. There must have been 70 or 80 agents who passed on this. And I said, well, it sounds like a great book, but you were telling them you had self-published this. But I said to him, let's just sort of be quiet about the fact that it had self-published and just see if we can get publishers to evaluate this on its own merits. And it ended up selling to Penguin Books. And we later heard from Ron Howard's company about the film and TV rights to the book. Um, so in that instance, it worked out, but it doesn't always go that way. And it's changed a lot since then. It's a lot harder now. Um, but it is a proving ground. It's a great proving ground for authors, I think, is the thing.
Okay, that's great, and I know all of us are hoping for that lottery ticket. And I promise I'm not going to pitch my latest book to you. I promise. Okay, when you get here to do, I promise I won't pitch my latest. Okay, maybe I'll give you a 25-word pitch. Okay, but that's it. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of fun in the summer. I hope this gives everybody who doesn't make it here to Dublin a taste of what Mark brings and a taste of what we're going to do in the summer. And I really appreciate you being part of this, Mark. And I will contact you by email. I'm going to stop the recording now.